Is this the end of dealerships? Now, this is a big question on everyone's mind. There's a lot of speculation and theory circulating around the internet about the future of dealerships. So let's review the industry's gaps and have you comment your thoughts below on the future of automotive retail and dealerships. But before we continue, subscribe to our channel for content on all things automotive to get notified as soon as it drops, and check out our website for incredible discounts where honestly you don't even need to negotiate. Also tune in for our monthly giveaways, such as the $500 we gave one lucky winner this month. Now let's get back to the topic at hand and first identify the problem that manufacturers have, and then discuss why there's been little changes over the last few decades. Now, imagine a business, in this case an automotive manufacturer, that provides a globally demanded product and spends billions of dollars on manufacturing and marketing, but in turn have very little visibility into their customer base. Sounds like a recipe for failure? Of course it does. But then on top of that, you add a very palpable trust gap that exists between consumers and dealer. It's common sense that business longevity requires identifying pain points and immediately improving them, because rapid response is critical in the modern digitalized world. This requires consumer data, and currently, as things stand, there's a poor flow of communication between consumers, dealerships, and manufacturers. There are many important phases during a customer's journey acquiring a product or a service, especially when it comes to the second biggest purchase during the lifetime, which is a car. Understanding consumer requirements is necessary because it drives consumer loyalty and brand affinity. Now let's focus on what happened during the pandemic and why this became a big issue. The trust gap became more paramount during the pandemic and reached a critical level. The pandemic sent a shuddering shock through the automotive market, requiring even a response from the federal government. We witnessed a single collective voice of consumer criticism and righteous anger directed towards most dealerships. I personally waited 5 months only to be pushed out of a custom order, only for the dealer to sell it at a markup. Now, I was not alone. Consumers were subject to price gouging, deteriorating customer service, where dealers told us to, hey, take it or leave it. And there are many other consumer horror stories all over the internet. This was powerful, mobilizing rhetoric for the manufacturers, which is resulting in changes happening as we speak. For starters, we're going to start seeing more direct-to-consumer sales, but it is going to be a bloodbath because of one key piece of legislation, the Automobile Dealers Day in Court Act, which was enacted to balance the power weighted in favor of the automobile manufacturers by enabling franchise automobile dealers to bring suit to recover damages sustained by reason of the failure of manufacturers to act in good faith in complying with the terms of the franchises, or in terminating or not renewing franchises with dealers, which is exactly what they have been doing ever since Tesla broke into the market in 2014. Since then, a state-by-state battle has been declared over state motor vehicle franchise laws that restrict a manufacturer's right to sell cars directly to consumer. Tesla has led the charge for direct distribution, arguing that selling electric vehicles through franchise dealerships is not a viable option, but dealers have resisted these efforts at every corner, pointing to protection laws that prohibit direct sales and service. Other EV startups such as Rivian and Lucid have followed in the same direction, and most consumers obviously seem to prefer this approach. So unlike department stores that were literally battered by Amazon Inc., new vehicle dealers have been enjoying those strong protections from state franchise laws. After the pandemic, there has been an intense debate, now more than ever, about whether franchise laws have outlived their usefulness. The consensus amongst dealers, obviously, and most automotive experts, is that these models will not topple anytime soon. These laws were made to protect consumers and local communities, but many consumers are expressing outrage over what occurred during the pandemic. Some argue that supply was limited and dealers had to charge premiums to stay afloat. But let us know what your shopping experience was during the pandemic in the comments below. Anyways, what does this mean for legacy automakers such as Ford, BMW, that are subject to US franchise laws, but want to compete with the likes of Tesla and Rivian? Well, it's going to be a slippery slope. But we are seeing some changes. In March of 2022, Ford has revealed plans to split its business into 2 separate divisions, Ford Blue for the internal combustion engine and Ford Model E for EVs, which allow direct-to-consumer sales for the Ford electronic vehicles. Now, Ford wants to begin offering its electric vehicles exclusively through direct sales at fixed prices, which is again what Tesla does. And the Ford CEO, Jim Farley, has announced that this is going to be for the North American market. However, it is still unclear when this will be implemented and whether the new sales system could also be extended to other markets. It's not going to be an easy transition. And again, there's going to be a lot of resistance. And even Jim Farley is quick to admit the hurdles by stating that dealerships will adapt, but the standards are going to be brutal for them. Dealership owners in interviews with the Wall Street Journal and other news outlets have been raising alarms, concerns about Mr. Farley's comments, and said dealers play an important role in interacting with customers and providing them with service, repair, and education. And again, they're going to point to the franchise laws. Now, I didn't know this myself, but in the 1990s, Ford and General Motors both experimented with operating their own dealerships, but later abandoned those efforts because state dealer associations pushed to strengthen franchise laws to prevent these factories from competing with their franchises. So this miraculously failed before it even came to fruition. But the difference is that the social, economical, technological, and political forces are much greater now than before and are threatening the franchise dealership model with extinction. So at this point, it's literally going to be a battle between dealerships and EV startups. And as I said, this is not going to be a bloodless process. History has repeatedly shown that legacy laws can be trumped by technology, generational shifts in demand, or an intolerable degree of influence on political legislators by progressive consumers. Now, speaking of generational shifts in demand, let's discuss Generation Z, because big auto and big tech are keeping a very close eye to this age group, an enigma in its own that is yet to be fully cracked and will more than likely break the coterie of the too big to fail dealerships that have long had their way. This group is vocal and they're busy, and they also require authenticity and transparency. Their requirements in terms of vehicle features, choice of travel modes, brands, or even ownership is starting to have a transformative impact on the industry. Now, the one key aspect of Gen Zers is their preference for easy access rather than even ownership of cars, and it's motivated automotive manufacturers to rethink conventional strategies. Now, obviously the first to crack it was Tesla and Uber. Unlike traditional car companies, which focus solely on selling a car, Tesla's popularity stemmed from selling a car, but also being environmentally friendly. Tesla also scored high with Gen Zs for being, well, cool. A brand that was exciting, innovative, and challenged the status quo. Simultaneously, Uber was perceived as being innovative and convenient by Gen Z consumers, particularly those living in major cities. Basically, the notion of calling cabs on the street is completely inefficient and outmoded. To sum it up, Tesla disrupted the traditional dealership model, and Uber has disrupted the traditional view on car ownership. As a result of changing ideals and generational shifts in demand, we are seeing an alternative to car ownerships. We are talking about car subscriptions, which are a flexible alternative to, leasing or owning a vehicle. Consumers basically subscribe for, flexible periods as short as a month with the ability to cancel at any time. Autonomy is one of these car subscription providers, and it has placed about 23,000 orders for electric vehicles from various automakers for its fledgling subscription platform. Basically, they want to provide access to the right form of mobility at the right time, and they are extremely focused on, sustainability, which is a key word that Gen Zers love to hear. Now, the CEO, Scott Painter, told Electric, which is a news agency, that the company has been taking a delivery of almost 200 Teslas per week, which is why your Tesla is taking a long time to get delivered to you now. And it plans to keep this up. Obviously, the more vehicles they offer for various consumer lifestyles, the longer the relationship with these customers lasts. That being said, Autonomy has also made it clear that it plans to add even more electric vehicles from more automakers as it grows. Additionally, we are witnessing some automotive retail companies, such as AutoNation, that own several hundred car dealerships, partnering up with car subscription companies. Basically, AutoNation has partnered up with Autonomy to acquire up to 20,000 electric vehicles from automakers that make the most popular EVs. Now, AutoNation will be providing vehicle preparation and delivery in connection with the automotive customer activations, along with maintenance, repair, and reconditioning. So let's get back to the question. Are we going to see a change? Will franchise dealerships remain? It's kind of hard to tell, but one thing is for certain. We are in a climate where the winners in the automotive industry will be the companies that make life easier for you. We believe this even more strongly than ever. Industries that recast their business model around consumer needs will be the winners. Now, What we want to understand is your perspective, because there are so many types of different consumers out there. You know, there's the consumer that's fixated on price. There's the consumer that's going to scour the internet for the best deal they can find. There's the impulsive purchaser like myself that walks into a dealership and walks out with a new car and probably will regret it later. And there's other consumers that enjoy the convenience of researching and choosing online without a test drive. Other consumers just basically want to have that, traditional social interaction. So let us know your thoughts in the comments below. That's it for this video. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Like and subscribe to our channel to get notified as new content drops. See you in the next video.